Hello, everyone. This is Rune. I am the product communications producer at Umbraco HQ, and we have just released Umbraco 8.12. And to help me go through the new features and improvements in the release, I've invited Warren to join me as well. Warren, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. Thanks for having me on, Rune. So yeah, I'm Warren. I am a newly dev advocate as of like the last couple of weeks, but been using Umbraco for a while now in the D team. But yeah, happy to talk about 8.12 today with you, Rune.
Awesome. Well, I think we should just jump straight to it. So as we've got on the screen here, you can see there's a release blog post. We'll put that in the description for the video as well, so you can go and read that. But let's just start out from the top of the list with the new unattended upgrades feature. So it's kind of a follow-up from 8.11 where we had unattended installs. What is unattended upgrades, Warren?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me. Maybe rather than me try to tell you, maybe it's better for me to actually show you. So I have an Umbraco site here, quite an old one as well. So I've got version 8.4.2. And then I have a copy of the 8.12 site, and I'm going to do a very quick upgrade. So I'm going to copy the bin and the Umbraco folder. I'm going to copy it over the top and wait for my machine to chug through.
Very old school way of doing an upgrade. Right?
Yes, exactly. Not a NuGet upgrade or Umbraco Cloud, but yeah, we're cowboy it and we'll just copy some files over.
So maybe just stepping a bit back while we wait for the wonderful progress bar to finish.
Yes.
Unattended installs in 8.11 is kind of similar, but what is unattended installs?
So the unintended installs, so out of the box by default, when you get an Umbraco install, you get like the installer wizard once you boot up the site. So you normally get prompted for like the name and the email and the password, the connection string, and if you want to install the starter kit. So the unintended install feature was to allow you, for I suppose power users, to predefine or pre-configure a connection string and kind of skip all of that installer GUI steps and go straight to a prepared Umbraco back office. So you can just go straight to the back office and then log in. So and then now, go on.
Oh, I was just saying, and then unattended upgrades is similar.
Very much the same. Obviously, doing an upgrade from one version to another. Previously, you would get the upgrade installer UI, and it would say like, "Oh, are you happy that you want to upgrade from say 8.4.2 to 8.12?" You would click yes, and then you'd get the progress, and then any errors would obviously be shown if there was any. Again, this is just to skip that step. You may just want to automate this process, or you want to be a power user and kind of skip that step out.
And you also avoid the probability of a visitor to your website actually encountering the install screen. Right? We have heard those kind of stories, right? So with this, that should not happen.
No, exactly. So the two kind of key things that I need to add now I've copied stuff over is this new app setting, which I'm going to do a lovely bit of copy and paste. But we can. So this new app setting is Umbraco core runtime state upgrade unattended. And I set it to true. And then I am going to set the configuration status to the version that I'm upgrading to. So in this case, it's 8.12. I'm going to save that. But before I kind of magically make it all work, I'm going to on purpose ruin my database connection string. And there's a reason for that, is because part of this unattended upgrade is that we have a custom boot failed error message. So if I now restart the site, it's going to attempt to do the upgrade for me. But it's then going to go, I can't connect to the database. And we should, once my IIS starts to warm up, let's take another look. We should get the boot error failed.
And we can just mention this was actually developed by the cloud team. I think Rasmus worked quite a lot on it, right? Yeah. To make both installing and of course also upgrading sites on Umbraco Cloud a lot easier, also for hardcore and Uno. And it's just really awesome to see this come into the open source CMS as well. Yay, we've got an error. That's awesome.
We've got a boot failed. However, you might not like the design of our one that we ship out of the box. So we can override this. So I will go to Umbraco views, and then what is it? Errors. I'm going to copy this folder. Mm-hmm. And then I am going to put it in the config folder. So I've got config, errors, boot failed. Yep. You can see there's some inline CSS. Obviously, it's just a HTML page. We could, hello, Rune. I'm just going to change the message for now. And let's just do a quick restart. But yes, that just gives you more control in terms of maybe branding or identity. God forbid you do an upgrade, rather than your customers seeing this kind of Umbraco themed or branded background, you might want to be a boot failed message that is more on brand to your identity.
Yeah, that's really cool. And also just, I mean, even the default one, the default boot fail one is nicer than what you would see.
Yes, previously it was just like a white page with just a piece of text. But yes, you can obviously customize this as it's just shown.
That's cool. Really nice.
Yes, so let's actually make it work. Let's actually do an upgrade. So let's fix the database connection string. So this will now just seamlessly work. So let's refresh again. I have to remember what tab we're in. So under the hood, it's doing all the database migrations. There we go. That was relatively seamless and quite quick.
Wow, that's really
we've
nice.
Upgraded. So it was going through all the database migrations as well, from 8.4.2 up to 8.12. Anything that had changed database schema-wise.
I want proof.
You want proof? The CSS in the back office has gone a bit funky, but we could fix that quite quickly. I knew this might catch me out. So we can maybe bump the client dependency, and let's do another quick restart. So and it's cached.
It doesn't really matter what number you change it to there, the version on.
No, just something as long as it was different. Yeah. So let's make sure I've got DevTools open just to make sure it's gonna get the new. There we go. That looks much better. So I've got the Umbraco version 8.12, and I know in 8.4.2 things like the block list editor wasn't a thing, so I can let's just maybe just see if I can actually add one to my doc type. So yeah, here's the block list we've upgraded. That is seamless.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
Cool. Yeah, and pretty quick. I mean, it's I know it's a demo site, so that's
I'm doing it over Zoom, but
yeah. But still, really quick and really seamless. Really nice.
Thanks. But you wanted to demo me some stuff now, didn't you, Rune?
Yeah. We've got a couple of other features that we can show in the release. So let me just share my screen here. So let me just scroll up the blog post here. First one I think we'll talk about is the improved document type menu. So our good friend and Umbraco MVP, Mark Goodson from Moriyama, has worked for quite a long time on this. He actually started out creating a package.
Yeah, I love that this was like come from the community and was a package originally, and the whole story that now this has come back into the core.
Yeah. So what he's done is, this is the old document type menu. It had 4 options. You create a document type without a template, and a document type collection, which would sort of create a parent document type and a child document type, I think it might have even put it in a folder. So just a little bit of organization. But his point was that while this can be helpful for the document type collection stuff, you still had to go in and do a bunch of configuration if you were doing compositions or element types or things like that. So it didn't really, it was maybe good for experienced users, but it didn't really help people learn how to do Umbraco. And there was still a lot of stuff you had to do manually if you were working with different types of document types. So what he has done, I think I've even got a running version here so we can show it. If we go into settings and create a new document type, you'll see quite a different menu here. So it still has document type, this time with template and then a document type. And then it also has some nice descriptions that actually.
I like that all of this has got kind of, that meta or that description about what you're going to create rather than just what is a composition. If you're new to Umbraco or what is an element type. Yeah, it's nice to get a bit of context of what you're going to create. Yeah, exactly. I think this is really great, especially for people who are new to Umbraco, right? They can actually read a bit about what they're clicking on and what they can expect when they start creating this. So it really shines through that Mark is an Umbraco trainer. He's taught a lot of devs how to use Umbraco, and I think this is just super helpful. So aside from what was already there before, he's also added the ability to create an element type and a composition with descriptions as well. And what's really cool here is for an element type, for example, this pre-configures the little toggle, right? So so you don't have to do that when you go in there, and I think it just creates a nicer flow. So you can kind of do what you intend to do and not have to go back because you didn't tick the little box or whatever. So I think this. Yeah, I think the amount of times that's caught me out, I've kind of tried to configure something and it's like, I forgot to just click that toggle for the element type, and then end up going back and it's like, I didn't need a template because it was an element type. Okay, I'll go and delete the template now and things like that. So this is really nice. Exactly, it's really cool. And then the document type as a collection has been removed. I think both because there was still additional configuration you had to do. You had to jump back and forth, especially if you had to set permissions and things like that. But also to not make the menu too bloated. It's got more options on it now, which obviously adds a little bit of a cognitive load the first time you open up the menu, right? So to kind of keep it concise, he's removed that part. So, but I think it's really a great solution, and I think it'll be really helpful, like both for newcomers but also experienced devs. It just makes the workflow a little bit easier, I think. Yeah, for sure. Nice. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, thanks, Mark. High five, you rock. The other thing I wanted to show here is for list views, another MVP. I think there's a list view here. So Søren Kuttel from Ekreo, another gold partner, another MVP, he's done a little update to list views. So the way list views work today is you get a list of items, child items under the people node here. You can see them here, and when you click them, you go to edit them. Fine, I mean, that works, and it's fine in a lot of cases, but he's done a little tweak that can actually make, if you have a lot of node that you are updating quite often, he's done a little tweak that's actually quite helpful, I think. So if I go to the people document type and click on list view, and then configure my list view in here, and then if we scroll to the bottom of the list view configuration, you can see there is now a little toggle to edit in infinite editor. So he's essentially enabled infinite editing for list views, which I think is actually really handy. I work in the back office a lot, and there are definitely cases where this would just be super helpful because it's just a little bit more snappy. So what will happen now when I click on a node, you see it pops up in the infinite editor.
And it almost seems a little bit quicker to me, which is weird. I don't know if the animation helps it with perceived speed or whatever, but I think it's really nice.
And it's also nice that with Infinite Editor that you got more screen real estate to do your content editing as well here.
Yeah.
So if it's something that was takes a lot of focus in terms of copywriting or things like that, then it's very nice.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see I've updated the title here, and if I close, you can see it's updated in the list view as well. So I mean, not really too many bells and whistles, but just a really useful option to have. So you can configure this for individual list views. So there might be cases where this is helpful to you or not, and you can kind of decide whether you want infinite editing for your list views or not.
Yeah, I think it's real, just nice, those tiny details and polish that just really makes the product kind of shine.
Yeah. Speaking of details and polish, we have from the HQ side, there's a little update to how sorting of language variants works in this release. Right, so
He was talking about language variants. This is super nice.
Yeah. So Mads has been working on how to sort language variants. So if you're using the new multilingual variants feature in Umbraco 8, you'll see an update to how these languages are sorted if you open the dropdown for a content node and where you can choose between the languages. So what he's done is he's kind of grouped things together to make it a little bit more predictable and easier to find the content you want to update or maybe even need to create if it's mandatory. And the way he's done it is kind of first level, he's showing the default language first, then any mandatory languages, and then any non-mandatory languages. And then under each of these categories, it'll show published content first, and then content that is draft in a draft state, so not published, and then finally content that has not been created. So it will kind of do this for each of the groupings, as you can see here in the screenshot.
Yeah, and I think this is super nice that if you've got a site with a lot of language variants, you might not always have content that is obviously in each language. And then if that list is quite long, having to scroll quite down just because the one that I do have to create a variant for is towards the bottom of the list. Now it'll float towards the top because I've created a variant now.
Yeah. And I think it was just alphabetically sorted before, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, having things alphabetically sorted is also predictable, but maybe not as helpful as I think this is. So I think it's a really great update. And this, there's actually quite a few dialogues that have been updated. So obviously the save and publish dialogues, but also if you publish with descendants, if you unpublish something, and also if you send for approval or schedule something, this sorting kind of convention has been added to all of those as well. So you'll kind of see a consistent way of displaying variants across all of these dialogues, which I think is really, really cool. Yep. Final thing I wanted to mention is we don't really have a demo of this, but if we jump down here, you can see there is actually quite a few performance enhancements in the 8.12 release. And there's been a lot of work done with this over the last, I think, almost year. So it's been a New Zealand developer named Chad, who has done a lot of work together with Shannon from HQ, and they've done a ton of great performance enhancements to your Umbraco installations. Yeah,
so like the lower down levels, just making it as performant as it possibly can be. It's not something that obviously you as an end developer that will necessarily touch day to day. But in terms of having a more rock solid and more performant Umbraco, obviously benefits everyone.
And there, some of them are kind of for specific areas. So for members, for example, so you'll only get a benefit if you're using members at your site. But others are, I think in this release, there's kind of a significant reduction in the boot time for Umbraco, which is like that'll definitely help everyone that's working with Umbraco, right? I think it's also regarding serialization, deserialization of JSON that has been sped up, and obviously we've got quite a lot of editors, property editors now that use JSON. So like having these kind of things added is really cool, I think. And we've got a couple of upgraded dependencies as well: HTML sanitizer and the UI slider plugin. So if you are using these in any of your own packages or implementation, just be aware these have been upgraded. Hopefully it won't do anything to your installations, but they have been upgraded to a newer version. Cool. I think aside from that, let's just have a little look at this wonderful table here. So these are all the contributors to the 8.12 release. So it's not a massive release. It's got 46 improvements and features in there. And for my counting, I think it's something like 14 contributors. Yeah. And actually 4 of them are first-time contributors to Umbraco, which is really cool.
I love the one that is called Beard in a Suit.
Yeah.
Who is Beard in a Suit? But
no idea.
Awesome.
It also on his GitHub or the GitHub profile just says Beard in a Suit, and got a nice avatar of a bearded dude in a suit. So thanks, I guess. I know it's really awesome. It's like 30% of the contributors are new first-time contributors, which is really cool. And it's actually across all the repositories. Yeah, that's really nice. And topping the list, we've got Bjarne, also Umbraco MVP and part of the core collaborators team, I think, as well. Topping it with APRs, and he's done his usual stuff where he has tweaked a lot of things to just make the experience a little bit nicer, a little bit tighter. He's really good at spotting those little tiny inconsistencies. So a lot of great stuff in there.
Like you mentioned before, Chad has worked a lot with Shannon in terms of those performance, lower level performance issues. Yeah,
exactly.
And then obviously we've got the usual names and faces that we all know and love. Nathan and Bonima.
Quite a few returners here. Mike as well, and we've got Nathan Wolf with 3 PRs as well. He's also worked on some of the Angular divorce stuff, I think. So quite cool. Right. I think that sort of covers it for the 8.12 release.
Is there anything we need to know about breaking changes?
Well, yes, there actually is. So there's been an API endpoint removed from the back office API. So this is the create collection endpoint where it creates 2 document types for you and puts it in a folder and all that stuff. Since that's been removed from the menu, it's now been removed from the API as well. I don't suspect a lot of people were using it.
No, I don't. But it's always nice to just highlight it and mention it, just in case you was that one user that was dependent on that API.
We're removing something from the API, so it is a breaking change, but hopefully it's a very minor one that only affects us. Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Well, you can of course get Umbraco 8.12 if you go to your Umbraco Cloud site and click the upgrade button there. If you create a new project, it will be on 8.12 already. And for everyone using the open source version, we've got the download page on our, and you can of course get it on UGit as well. And just for the download page, if you want to dive into the features and the fixes in here, it's all nicely sorted. So you can kind of go by, if you want to check out the performance fixes and improvements, for example, these are nicely bundled here under the performance tab. Cool. Well, thanks very much for joining me, Warren, and having a look at 8.12.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Let's do it again.
Yep. Next time. Bye.
Bye.